Assalamu alaikum, guys. This is Ali Bakir Khan again with another session of Youth Alumni Association regarding career counseling and entrepreneurship. Today, we have got Usman Javed with us. Usman, thank you so much for joining in the cause.
Thank
How
you,
are
Ali.
you?
Thank you for having me. I'm fine.
All right, that's really good to know. Let me just give you guys a little bit of introduction about Usman. Usman is a senior finance manager working at a corporate company, and he completed his MBA back in 2014 from LUMS. So Usman, first, I'd like you to go ahead and explain about your career journey and how you've managed to become what you are today. A little bit of introduction would be very beneficial for the youth listening to you, especially. Yeah.
Thank you, Ali, for having me. So before I, delve into my career journey, I think I would like to start off from, my schooling, because I think that is essentially which forms your, primitive years and your mindset towards what kind of a career you want. So since my father was in the army, my schooling is scattered across multiple schools in Pakistan. So we kept on moving from one location to the other every 2 years. And it was only at the time of my O levels once we settled down into one school. And my parents were always very much focused on academic excellence. They had left it onto us in terms of the career path that we wanted to choose. And very frankly, I did not have a very clear-cut idea in terms of what would be a suitable career path for me. My father was in the army. He didn't have much corporate experience, and the decision point in terms of your career comes at the time of your OA levels, in terms of what subjects you choose, and also in terms of the choice of the university that you take. So my parents coached me that you should keep your options open. Generally, South Asian parents are risk averse, so they want their kids to have multiple opportunities. So I had science subjects in both my O and A levels. But after my A levels, I realized that even though I was good in, at sciences, it didn't interest me too much. I found it a bit dry, to be honest. And that is why I wanted to explore the business side as well. And in terms of universities, some of my cousins had went to LUMS. It was in Lahore, nearby to where I live, and I had personally seen the university environment as well, and it appealed to me, and that's why I applied to LUMS for their undergrad program. Back when I applied to LUMS, they did not mandate you to choose a major at the time of admission, and you got a quarter, I think 2 quarters, after which you had to choose what your major would be. And they also, it was also merit based as well, in terms of, for particular major, what was, the required GPA. Anyway, so coming to, after joining LUMS, I really liked economics. It really appealed to me. I thought, I'd gone through all of these science subjects in my O and A levels, but this was something a part of academia which I was which was completely unknown to me. So economics really interested me, and and that's why I chose an economics major. And later on I took some I took finance courses as well, and I realized that although accounting was a bit dry, but finance was really interesting. So I did my bachelor's in economics and finance. To be honest, at that point in time, although we did know that there were finance jobs out there, but to be honest, corporate jobs, from doing an economics degree, I wasn't sure. What I knew was that there are economists out there, banks hire economists, social policy related jobs preferred people who had an economics background. But to be honest, neither did LUMS tell me what kind of a career options and economics and finance bachelors will open up for me. Neither did I delve into it too much at the time of taking up the program. All I knew was that LUMS grads do well, and I thought so would I.
So you had a vision. I mean, and the best part is that you chose the subjects that you were interested in. So that's quite an interesting thing, and that's different from, you know, quite a few people that I've been speaking to. So yeah, you can go ahead.
To be honest, Ali, I didn't explore like, all the subjects out there. Like I said that, I had a university in mind. I knew it was a business university. I went there. I liked economics. So to be honest, I wouldn't call it a very well-informed decision.
Okay.
But like, you can say that there was this element of, choice in there as well, of course.
Okay. So yeah, just a quick question. I do understand that. I mean, of course, you know, we've done graduation. I myself I've been working for Bahari University Islamabad for Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership. And at that point of time, when, you know, students are engaged in university life, they don't have stress of working 9 to 5, right? 9 or 8 hours job that normally people do after graduating, or, you know, they've got their own businesses to run. So that's the time where you can actually go ahead and, you know, make their minds in regards to entrepreneurship. You can actually go ahead and give them some knowledge. Do you think if at your point of time there was something related to entrepreneurship or some workshops that you would have attended at that time, it would have created an impact on your career, you know, today? I'm pretty sure that you're happy about what you've achieved, but do you want to throw some light upon this aspect regarding some career counseling at that point of time? If it was lacking, why? And if it was there, can you please elaborate how it was there?
So Ali, as I mentioned, this kind of career counseling, wasn't there when,
Okay.
I was back in LUMS from 06 to 09 for my undergrad.
Okay.
And neither, it was there, to be honest, in the MBA program as well. I think entrepreneurship in Pakistan is, a very interesting topic to discuss. And I'll tell you why. Generally, parents in South Asia are risk averse. They want they want certainty for their children, especially families who are not from an entrepreneurial background. They generally push towards their children towards, a safe job option. And I'll tell you why. There's this cultural aspect to it as well. In the South Asian culture, they're predefined goals for everyone. For example, you graduate, you get into a good university, you graduate from the university, you do a job for 2 to 3 years, then get married at the age of somewhere around, earlier it used to be 26, 27 for guys. And by that time, they, just finding their feet, right, in their professional careers. So, and, obviously there's this huge responsibility that we feel towards our parents as well, that we need to be around our parents
to just make sure we support them if you're just like, if they have one sibling and stuff. So, yeah, I understand that.
Whereas for being an entrepreneur, you have to be a risk taker. You can't.
That's the definition of an entrepreneur, to go ahead and take some risk, and we need to know about it, but we don't have any idea about that. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. And if you are an entrepreneur, you might not be able to achieve that, that goals of being well settled by 27, 28. And that's what you see abroad as well, that these, people don't have these kind of goals, from that are forced onto them from their, family side as well. And, that is part of our upbringing as well, in terms of what we see happening around, what we hear from our parents. For you being an entrepreneur, I think you need to first of all have that risk-taking mindset, and then be very persistent and persevere with the business venture that you have taken. It might take you you might get settled somewhere in your mid-30s, but then it is what it is. That's the
but Usman, I have a question here. We talk about payoffs in talking about universities like LUMS. I've been participating in different events like Synergies, HR Confluence. So I did get a glimpse of how the university revolves like. And it was really good, coming up with such initiatives that only LUMS was taking at that time. But don't you think LUMS is just one institute in the entire Pakistan? Yes, let's talk about IBA, LUMS, or if you talk about medical, you talk about Aga Khan and all those universities. But in every class or in every sector, or if you're working for a corporate level, and I'm working as a senior account manager myself, in every team, there are top 2 people, then there are top, at the bottom, there are 2 people, and then there is an average lot. And your whole ROI is dependent on that average lot, because if they're not going to perform, you're not going to get consistency in your performance. So when you talk about tier 2 institutes in Pakistan, I do understand that we are familiar with the word entrepreneurship. I mean, the sad fact is that even the tier 1 institutes are not able to go ahead and, you know, throw some light upon that and give those opportunities to the extent they should. But what do you think about those people who are in tier 2 and who have a lot of passion to just go ahead and pursue? Talking about payoffs, I mean, isn't that the only thing that we just throughout our whole life just revolve around payoffs? That we just focus on one thing, that, okay, we are supposed to make a house, we are supposed to marry a good woman. A woman, if she's a girl, she's supposed to marry a good guy. And why she's becoming a doctor is just because, you know, her parents want her to have some respect in the society. Why do we have these kind of stereotypes? Why don't we follow what we guys pursue? And if we guys don't consider payoffs, you know, I think that would lead us towards that entrepreneurial mindset that you just spoke about, because we've made, you know, certain goals for ourselves. How to change that mindset would be my question.
To be honest, Ali, if you look at entrepreneurship, it is, you know, about at the end of the day payoffs as well. It's just like, you know, how much, you know, you're willing to wait for those payoffs to come, and how you know, much risk you're, you know, willing to take. But at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is about, like, you know, developing businesses which generate, you know, high profits at the end of the day.
Correct.
So in terms of the mindset, I think that's a cultural you know, thing that we have in Pakistan, where, you know, I discussed earlier all of these you know, mindsets that we have in terms of, like, you know, predefined goals, you know, getting married at a particular age, having kids, trying to build a house at a particular age, you know, at somewhere around your retirement and all of that. So these are, like, you know, cultural things, and in these cultural things, you know, take a lot of time in changing. Cultures don't change overnight. And to be honest, I do see that kind of shift coming, you know, over the years now as well. I see that people, like, you know, are giving this, you know, entrepreneurship a thought. And to be honest, it's more out of necessity than anything. You talked about these tier 2 universities, right? Unfortunately, Pakistan's economy is not, you know, generating as much white collar jobs as the need is, you know, and there is definitely once people graduate from tier 2 universities, the kind of jobs or packages that they're offered, it's pushing them towards, you know, taking that risk and towards entrepreneurship. And to be honest, I don't have direct contact with a lot of you know, these people, but I do, like, you know, watch you know, YouTube, different YouTube channels that, like, you know, talk about these new entrepreneurial setups that are coming through. So, and to be honest, entrepreneurship is not, you know, only about creating $1 billion company, right? Entrepreneurship could be,
Definitely.
if you open up you know, small roadside eatery, or you know, any other such thing. But the issue that I see with entrepreneurship at this point in time, that's, like, you know, coming within Pakistan, you know, at least from people from these tier 2 universities, is, you know, majorly around food, and there's not much innovation around it. The only kind of innovation that I see is that, like, you know, they've made the food, you know, they're hygiene conscious, and, you know, perhaps the customer service is a bit better than, like, you know, a regular non-educated person running, you know, a
But there is
roadside
nothing
eatery.
new to it. There is nothing innovative. I mean, because in every business life cycle, you know, there is a boom, there is a start, and then there is a downfall. The only thing that saves a business is innovative mindset.
Exactly, that innovation is not there. And you're right, you know, this kind of innovation, like, you know, these entrepreneurial setups, like, you know, at this point in time, what I see coming either from, like, you know, tier 1 universities, you know, graduates, which too, like, you know, is very limited, or from people, like, you know, who are from Pakistan, they went abroad and then, like, you know, they come back and, like, you know, start a venture. But from, you know, the masses, you don't see that thinking. And you're right. And, you know, in terms of developing that mindset in them, you know, educating them around it, and then also, you know, providing them the opportunities. Majority of the businesses that I see emerging right now are, you know, from the IT sector, you know, from the technology sector, like, be it, novel apps or leveraging, IT technology, solving problems, traditional problems, like, across the spectrum in different countries. But at the end of the day, it is technology driven, because
It is an
if you look at
advantage that there is no harm in actually going for that IT sector. I think it's a pretty good thing. I mean, talking about our neighboring countries, like let's, for example, India, they have talk about the top companies and the CEO is mostly Indian, right? So let's talk about IT here. Now, in terms of IT perspective, what do you think? I mean, if you guys can create an app regarding career counseling opportunities, and we, like, for example, if I have toothache, that's for example, and I need a dentist, I would go on the app, I would just choose the perfect dentist for myself, and I would just go ahead there for my treatment, right? So similarly, it's very simple to create an app and create a triangle between all those career counselors, and those career counselors could be you. I mean, in your free time, you can give a session if somebody wants to pursue a career in finance. Since now you have a lot of experience in that journey, you can easily guide him or her for, like, 30-40 minutes. Like, okay, this is what you are supposed to do, and you can get paid for that as well. So don't you think this is a kind of innovative thought that might lead us and towards something productive in the end?
To be honest, Ali, I really appreciate the idea. Prior to our meeting, this meeting as well, we were, discussing on the same thing. And to be honest, you know, what is the main purpose of technology? Technology, the main purpose is to help us, solve problems. And whenever you solve a problem that is, critical for people, they'll be willing to pay you, money or value for it. So I'm sure that, like, what you're doing right now, it has a social welfare element to it, as well, which is great. But what I'm saying is that from, for you to, like, pursue this particular area, and giving your time to it, you'll definitely need a commercial angle to it as well, right?
I got
That's
you.
very important. So from, from a monetization point of view, I think it's a great idea. To be honest, like, you can, at the end of the day, we be discussing the app. What is the purpose of the app? It is to connect the right people that can generate, value for the person who's seeking the career counseling advice, right? So if you have an app which can, connect people, to be honest, it doesn't need to be a, patented novel app. It could be even, like, using these Zoom tools and all of that. But it's just about, like, developing a marketplace where a person who is, seeking guidance,
Yeah.
either generally, from based on what career choice he should make, or, like, it could be a particular specific problem in his corporate journey that he is, having, and he wants a solution to it, right? In terms of, for example, he has a crossroads, a path to take in his, career, professional life,
Yeah.
and which particular option should he choose. Now, in that, generally, like, we talk about networks, that people might have within the company and all of that. But, many a times people feel that, like, they want to learn from people, like, outside in the industry.
Yeah.
And for example, if I'm in the, consumer goods industry, I would want to, like, connect to a person who has done really well in the consumer goods sector, and, like, how he maneuvered his, way through to reach the top, right? And if not the top, like, but he did well, right? So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that LinkedIn is, like, LinkedIn was, a similar kind of a service, right? But it doesn't, like, solve the
All the
problem of
problems.
this.
I'll be very honest, we are working on Go Teams. I mean, I'm working for a couple of different companies. So Go Teams is actually a portal. So I was having a conversation with someone in US the other day, and that's where he asked me just yesterday that, okay, what's the difference between you and LinkedIn? Because he was actually tired of LinkedIn. Why? Because there are a lot of people reaching out, talking about small companies, large companies, and then LinkedIn has given them a certain premium aspect through which you can just go ahead and get all their details. So there is no more privacy attached and associated to it. So you're right about the fact that every entrepreneur or a businessman eventually has a goal to just go ahead and get ROI out of it. And payoff is, of course, something that we guys have a goal, and it should be there. I'm not saying that we should totally exclude that. And I really do appreciate you for, taking out your time and coming. So we have just 5 minutes left. Any message or any strategies that you would like to or any solutions that you think might be helpful for personally me and my team and the youth that is listening to you? What would be your message that this is how we can at least improvise, if not 100%? Yeah.
I think before we, take decisions like, our career choice, to be honest, we get the impression that our career choice starts once we, accept a job offer, right? But
Yeah.
the way I look at it, it starts like, our career choice starts way earlier, at perhaps at the time of metric FSC or ONA levels, once we are choosing the subjects that we're going to take, right? Because that ends up either limiting or defining the degree that you take, and then that degree ends up defining the kind of career that you're going to have, right? So what I personally would like to advise parents is that they should if possible take the help of professional career counselors, and which assess the personality of the child, right? Because the kind of personality that the child has is going to help him fit into a particular career profession better. For example, if you're a person who's really analytical and who is very introvert, then perhaps a sales job or a marketing job would not suit you
Would
well.
not
You
suit you.
perhaps might do really well in a technical IT role, or you might
Any creative role, he or she could be a good designer,
or in a creative role.
yeah.
So help your child get the right career counseling, assess his personality, and then uh, make him as well informed about himself at the time
Let
once he
them
is.
make their choices, let them explore at least, not if not
Yeah.
in their proper classes, like they have summer vacations, give them the chance to go ahead, and if someone wants to just pursue a career in music, let them do that. Because now the world is open. I'll be very honest, we've got social media these days. So if someone wants to pursue a career, let's for example in music, there is a friend of mine who had that passion. He just went to Turkey for just going ahead and pursuing it. Why? Because he had that
Yeah.
passion, he so wanted to do that. So let's just not stick towards the IT, chartered accountants, and all those fields that we have decided for ourselves. Because if that's the track that we're going to pursue, then entrepreneurship is something that we might lack a bit.
And Ali, just to add one more point to it, as automation is happening, artificial intelligence is, automating a lot of these jobs, and the jobs that we see right now, perhaps legal services, accounting services, even medical services,
Yeah.
these traditional jobs that we have been relying on, for so long, gradually they will be robots and machines or AI would be taking up these jobs. And if you were to ask me, and I think that's published research as well,
Yeah.
30 years down the line, when perhaps our children will be undertaking their careers, the most valued skill will be entrepreneurship and creativity.
Perfect.
And
Perfect example.
because
Yeah.
so and because all of these other kind of jobs which can be coded through an algorithm, and these tasks could be performed, all of these things will be taken over by AI. So the things that machines cannot do, or can't be coded that easily, which is creativity, inspiration and entrepreneurship, these are the things where value will be, and where will people will be able to make their careers on. So
Yeah.
anyways, I think that's it from my side, Ali.
Thank you so much for your time, Usman. And all of you guys who are watching us, if you guys want to listen to more podcasts, you guys can go ahead and subscribe our Youth Alumni Association channel on YouTube. Yes, we are moving slowly and gradually, but there is a hope in me that definitely we can do something good for Pakistan and the entire world out there. Whoever needs our help, people in US, Africa, I'm open to just go ahead and interview all of you guys who are willing to actually join this good cause. Why I use the word good cause is because this is something that we are doing for good in society, definitely. Because if we are going to have more ventures like entrepreneurial ventures, it's going to not just help us out, but also to those people out there who want to go ahead and excel, their career in a specific particular industry, let's for example. So thank you so much, Usman. It was really nice talking to you. And I really appreciate you, taking time out for the session today.
Thanks a lot, Ali, for having me, and best of luck, with the great work that you are doing for this social cause. So
Thank you.
Take care, and bye.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.